When BTS eventually rose to international acclaim, Jungkook was celebrated as the Golden Magne, the all-rounder who could sing, dance, produce, and perform with a natural charm that transcended cultural boundaries. His versatility was nurtured by HYBE's resources and guidance. From a corporate standpoint, Jungkook became both a crown jewel and a strategic asset, someone whose global appeal could drive not only album sales but also fashion campaigns, streaming numbers, and partnerships with international brands. This shared journey created a bond that many believe to be unshakable. Jungkook often expressed gratitude to HYBE for believing in him and his members when the industry initially dismissed BTS. Fans saw this loyalty as an emotional anchor, a reminder that behind the glamour and headlines, Jungkook valued the human connections built over years of struggle, yet devotion has a shadow. When a relationship is so deeply rooted in trust, any misstep can cause wounds far deeper than ordinary disagreements. For Jungkook, the challenges came in waves: controversies over privacy, creative control, and the immense pressure of carrying expectations that sometimes felt impossible to meet. HYBE, as a corporation, had to balance shareholder demands with artistic integrity. This balancing act occasionally placed Jungkook in the center of decisions that fans perceived as exploitative or insensitive. Whether it was the relentless scheduling, the commercialization of his image, or the carefully controlled narratives in media, cracks began to show in the once idealized bond. Fans noticed moments when Jungkook seemed weighed down, his exhaustion visible even on stage. Interviews where he hesitated before answering certain questions raised speculation about unspoken conflicts. Social media amplified these suspicions, with every silence or subtle gesture becoming evidence of tension between him and HYBE. Though neither side publicly confirmed major disputes, the atmosphere suggested an undercurrent of strain, an emotional tug-of-war between loyalty to the company that raised him and the quiet pain of feeling constrained. What makes Jungkook's situation particularly complex is his nature. He is known for his devotion to his craft, to his members, and to the fans who support him endlessly. This devotion has driven him to work tirelessly, even sacrificing rest or personal boundaries to deliver perfection. But in the hands of a corporation, such devotion can easily be misunderstood, or worse, misused. For HYBE, Jungkook's willingness to give everything might appear as a reliable resource, a guarantee that no matter the demand, he will deliver. Yet devotion without careful protection often leads to burnout. Fans have expressed concern that HYBE sometimes prioritizes profits over the well-being of their artists, with Jungkook at the center of this dilemma. His passion, while admirable, becomes a double-edged sword, fueling his greatness while leaving him vulnerable to emotional and physical exhaustion. The hurt comes not only from the demands of schedules, but also from the silence around them. For someone like Jungkook, who values honesty and trust, any sense of being treated as a tool rather than a partner can leave invisible scars. The contrast between the adoration he receives from fans and the impersonal machinery of corporate decision-making intensifies this emotional divide. One cannot ignore the role of fans in this narrative. ARMY has long been more than just an audience. They are active participants, watchdogs, and sometimes even shields for BTS members. In Jungkook's case, fans have been vocal about holding HYBE accountable whenever they perceive unfair treatment. Campaigns trend on social media within minutes, demanding better protection, clearer communication, and more respect for the individuality of their idol. This dynamic creates additional complexity. On one side, HYBE benefits from the passion of ARMY, whose loyalty drives sales and brand influence. On the other side, this same passion becomes a force that challenges the company's decisions, highlighting the very tension between devotion and hurt. Jungkook, standing at the center, feels the pull of both sides, his commitment to fans who love him unconditionally, and his responsibility to a company that built his platform but sometimes falters in safeguarding his spirit. Perhaps the most striking element of Jungkook's relationship with HYBE is silence. While other artists may openly criticize or leave their agencies, Jungkook has largely chosen silence, whether out of loyalty, caution, or an attempt to maintain harmony. But silence, too, is a language. It speaks of restraint, of battles fought behind closed doors, and of emotions too complex to express publicly. For fans, this silence creates both mystery and concern. Does Jungkook remain devoted because he still believes in HYBE's vision, or is his silence a mask for deeper pain? Each interpretation adds layers to the narrative, transforming a professional relationship into a symbol of human conflict between trust and betrayal. To fully grasp the depth of this struggle, one must also look at the larger K-pop industry. Agencies hold immense power over their artists, controlling everything from music releases to personal branding. In such a system, devotion from an artist is often seen as a given, while hurt becomes an inevitable byproduct. Jungkook's situation mirrors a broader reality where idols walk the line between being celebrated as global icons and being bound by contracts that limit their freedom. HYBE, despite its achievements, faces criticism for growing into a corporate giant that sometimes loses sight of the human stories at its core. For Jungkook, who represents both the triumph and the vulnerability of this system, the conflict is magnified. His devotion cannot erase the moments of hurt, and his hurt cannot overshadow the gratitude he still feels. It is this duality that makes the relationship so fragile and so fascinating. As Jungkook continues his journey through solo projects, brand partnerships, and military service, the story of his bond with HYBE remains unfinished. Every decision, from an album release to a public appearance, adds new layers to the narrative. The devotion that once seemed unshakable now exists alongside hurt that cannot be ignored. Both forces coexist, shaping not only Jungkook's path, but also the future of BTS and HYBE itself. For fans and observers, this is more than just an industry conflict. It is a human story of loyalty tested by ambition, of trust strained by silence, and of resilience born out of pain. Jungkook's ability to navigate this fragile balance will not only define his personal legacy, but also reveal the evolving nature of the relationship between artists and the corporations that claim to support them. In the end, the question remains, can devotion and hurt find harmony, or will one inevitably overpower the other? For now, Jungkook walks the line between both, carrying the weight of expectations while holding on to the fragments of trust that once bound him so tightly to HYBE. On one side, such control created consistency. The Jungkook fans see today, the polished performer, the global brand ambassador, the golden magne, is a result of carefully orchestrated strategies. Without HYBE's oversight, his raw talent might never have translated into worldwide influence. The company understood early on that Jungkook was not just an artist, but a phenomenon, and thus every move had to be measured. Yet on the other side, control risks suffocating authenticity. Fans often sense when their idol's voice is being muted or reshaped. Jungkook's natural spontaneity, his candid way of sharing emotions, sometimes clashes with scripted appearances and marketing-driven decisions. The distance between who Jungkook truly is and who HYBE wants the world to see creates tension, a silent battle for ownership of identity. HYBE, in its quest for dominance, often positioned these sacrifices as necessary steps toward success. From a corporate perspective, Jungkook's devotion to hard work aligned perfectly with the company's growth ambitions. But for Jungkook as a human being, the cost of these sacrifices accumulated quietly, manifesting in moments of visible exhaustion, emotional vulnerability, or silent withdrawal. What fans see as hurt is often the residue of these sacrifices. The devotion that once seemed limitless begins to feel like a burden when it is not reciprocated with equal care. Jungkook's body and voice may belong to the stage, but his mind and heart are not immune to fatigue. Each sacrifice deepens the story of devotion while also carving wounds that cannot be ignored. Another silent battle in Jungkook's journey involves the tension between his individual identity and his role as part of BTS. HYBE has long relied on BTS as a collective brand, a global unit whose power lies in togetherness. Jungkook, however, has reached a stage where his personal brand carries immense value, perhaps even on par with the group itself. This creates friction. For Jungkook to grow as a solo artist, he requires freedom. creative autonomy, space to experiment, and room to explore themes that reflect his individuality. For HYBE, however, Jungkook's solo success must still align with the larger brand narrative of BTS. The result is a careful dance where Jungkook asserts independence while still carrying the responsibility of the group's legacy. The hurt comes when individuality feels compromised. Fans often sense Jungkook's yearning for self-expression, whether in his solo music, his raw live streams, or his choice of artistic collaborations. Each time corporate strategy limits these expressions, the conflict between devotion and hurt deepens. His devotion to BTS and ARMY keeps him aligned with HYBE, but the personal cost of suppressed individuality lingers. Jungkook's story cannot be separated from the expectations that surround him. As one of the most visible faces of BTS, he is constantly under a microscope, not just from fans but also from global media, brands, and critics. Every move, from his airport fashion to his song lyrics, becomes a subject of debate. HYBE capitalizes on this visibility, leveraging Jungkook's image to secure deals, drive campaigns, and expand its global reach. But the pressure of embodying perfection can be suffocating. Jungkook himself has admitted in interviews that he feels burdened by the need to meet fans' expectations, to always appear flawless, and to deliver work that surpasses previous achievements. This pressure creates a cycle. HYBE demands more because Jungkook is capable of more, and Jungkook delivers more because he feels responsible to his fans. The devotion fuels the machine, but the hurt grows with every moment when expectations overshadow personal peace. The balance between being a global icon and being a human being becomes increasingly fragile. One striking element of Jungkook's relationship with HYBE is his reluctance to openly confront the company. Unlike other artists who leave agencies or speak out publicly, Jungkook rarely breaks the silence. This silence, however, is not necessarily agreement. Instead, it reflects a deeply ingrained loyalty and a cautious awareness of the risks of confrontation. For Jungkook, silence may be a form of resistance, choosing not to fuel speculation or create division among fans. But for fans, silence is also painful. It leaves room for speculation. Is he content, or is he simply enduring? Is his devotion still genuine, or is it a mask hiding disappointment? In this way, silence becomes another battlefield where devotion and hurt coexist. Perhaps the most unique aspect of this narrative is how deeply ARMY reflects Jungkook's struggles. Fans often act as mirrors, projecting their interpretations onto his actions. When Jungkook appears joyful, fans celebrate. When he seems withdrawn, they worry. Every moment becomes part of a larger emotional story where the line between devotion and hurt is blurred. ARMY's devotion to Jungkook amplifies his own devotion to them. Yet it also magnifies the hurt when HYBE's actions appear dismissive of his needs. Fans often launch campaigns demanding better treatment, framing Jungkook not just as an idol but as a human being deserving of respect and care. This creates a three-way tension: Jungkook's devotion to fans, fans' devotion to Jungkook, and HYBE's responsibility to honor both sides. At the core of this conflict lies a single question: how much freedom does Jungkook truly have? His loyalty to HYBE has kept him tied to the company, but fans wonder if he ever considers a different path, one where his artistry is not bound by corporate interests. The hurt comes from the uncertainty. Does Jungkook stay because of genuine trust, or because leaving feels impossible? The future remains open. HYBE's success is intertwined with Jungkook's presence, and Jungkook's platform is still partly dependent on HYBE's global machinery. Yet as he grows older, the longing for independence may outweigh the comfort of devotion. Whether Jungkook ultimately remains with HYBE or chooses a new direction, his decision will shape not only his own legacy, but also the future of idol agency relationships in K-pop.